Welcome to episode 4 of Gamer Book Club, brought to you by XP Grind. I'm username.
My name is Big Henry. Wait, that's not what I wanted to say.
do you want to back up? We could still restart. It's early on.
No, we'll leave it
Okay.
in.
All right. And we are your Gamers Who Game, your hosts for this evening. Today, I think we're going to have some real hot takes on these games we have on the docket. But before we get into all that, I just wanted to say up front, if you haven't liked, subscribed, followed, rated, whatever you're doing on whatever platform, please consider doing so. It's completely free and it helps the show immensely. So thank you for that, for all your support. Now, Big Henny, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. Also wanted to just add to what you were saying. We're slowly adding all of our episodes up to Spotify, Amazon, and what is there another streaming? Apple Music. So Apple Podcasts. Yep. Eventually I'll have those as like HUD layouts on our display here. I just didn't have the time to make them real quick, but we are on those platforms as well for the full length podcast episodes. But
yes,
brother, sir. I'm doing good. And I kind of had like a little fun thing that I was thinking of doing.
Oh, yeah?
At every episode. It's like a quick reply. I don't know how you would say it. It's like a rapid fire life update.
Okay.
So, and they're only going to be life updates since the previous podcast.
Okay, so we got a couple weeks in the tank, though. A lot of stuff can happen in 14 days. Well, what's going on?
Right, so here's what we did, or my life updates. Scored a gold knife and a red sniper on Counter-Strike 2, which is worth $380. That's a lot of video games to buy on Steam.
Oh, yeah.
Got my annual raise on my job. Also, maybe another raise later this year.
Ooh, big money.
Yeah, that's right. Original Amp Energy is back, and it tastes...
You felt the need to shout that one out. Okay, all right.
It tastes just as good as it did 15 years ago. Still mainly playing Slay the Spire 2, looking for a new game to waste my time on. Quick Trip has a new Nashville hot chicken taquito that blew my cock off. That was such a good taquito flavor. Oh my god.
Damn. I'll have to cop me one of them.
Bro, I mean, when I read the label, I really couldn't believe it. I was like, you're saying there's some Nashville hot and spicy chicken inside of a taquito? Like,
yeah,
people should have did this earlier.
Yeah, I will say too, with the Nashville hot though, man, if anything but like ice cream or a soda pop, if you put Nashville hot on it, I'm gonna buy it.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, and I agree. I'll do that too.
Yeah.
Switched from Zins to Black and Milds. I'm only puffing, not inhaling. So there's probably like 10% inhalation compared to the 90% puff, but you know, we're slowly trying to like just veer off the nicotine too.
Yep. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah. And NBA playoffs coming up, which is dope. Go Spurs.
Hell yeah. Go Spurs. Yeah, there you go. You know how I feel about that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's like the 18th, huh? That's coming up this weekend.
Real soon, yep. Yeah. I got the Spurs coming at it. A lot of people are saying they're still too young and that it's still going to be the Thunder's here, and then maybe next year will be the Spurs. But I mean, man, every time I watch them play, it looks like they're just playing a different damn sport. And I mean, look, OKC is good, they're efficient, but the Spurs just, it maybe the head is saying the Thunder, but the heart is saying for sure, absolutely.
Okay, and before we even get to that point, one thing I want to ask you, basketball related. Ant-Man or Joker?
Like, are you talking for my playoff team?
Yep.
Like, if I was to pick one to fill, is this inspired by the Ant-Man or KD tweet or whatever that was going around?
I didn't see the tweet, but I was just
Okay,
thinking who's going to make a playoff slot.
gotcha. I mean, for me, I think it's got to be Jokic, but it is close. It is close. I love Anthony Edwards.
But yeah, a lot of people don't want to be betting against Ant-Man.
No,
Like that's to what I've heard most people are saying. I'm
I'm
still
telling you,
learning
man.
about the sport, so I'm kind of asking you if like
Yeah.
that sounds pretty reasonable. But like, I mean, still like Jokic is like he's something else too.
Oh yeah, multiple time playoff MVP, and also like I mean just a playoff veteran. Like that's a man who like I mean you can see he does not give the pressure. He gives a fuck about the game, but
Right.
the pressure does not get to. He's just like I just got to get. He's clocking in at the bucket factory, and then he's going home to ride his horses, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I
but
almost
I
feel
will say
like
you
their
do.
strat is kind of like, hey, we know we can't stop this man. What can we do about the people around him?
Yep. But what I say, you gotta watch that movie Hustle with Adam Sandler because
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards. I'm telling you, man. Like it sounds like you already respect him, but Anthony Edwards, man, you watch that movie, you're gonna think different of him because he's a fucking demon. He's a menace in that movie. It's crazy.
Okay.
So big recommend if y'all want to kind of feel good sports movie, Hustle from a few years ago. That joint rocks.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, I didn't prepare like a big life update type of thing, to be honest. That's a fun little segment, though. I like that. Was that the end of it?
Yeah, yeah, that's all I wrote down. I
Okay,
just
all
want to
right.
throw because I feel like, maybe we'll by the next podcast episode I'll be like, "Oh, this team lost in the
Mm,
play spot," or because it's called a play-in game or something.
yeah, for
Yeah,
like the lower seeds and the yeah.
because only 8 per conference make in, correct?
Well, it's only like four are like locked in because there's not 32 teams in the league yet. They might change the playoff like structure once there are,
Mhm.
but I think it's only like the first four seeds in each conference are locked, and then the rest do like the play in. So like it's
Okay.
like yeah, it's like 4 through 10, or sorry, 5 through 10 or something.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see how it all plays out and yeah, do a I thought that was a fun addition. I did that earlier today. And yeah, if you want to do that, you just I don't know, just a little quick six quick fire off like a revolver.
Yeah.
Bop, bop, bop.
All right, so let's get into a little bit of news. Honestly, it's been a pretty slow news kind of cycle, since the last time we recorded, since we did our little shop talk episode a couple weeks ago. So I don't really have a ton of like big stuff, but I have a few small stories we can just kind of like we'll rapid fire through them too. That'll be the theme
Okay.
of the episode, just going through. So,
Well, and I mean,
um,
just me knowing what the news stories are, but what you mean by slow, bro? Get
Well,
violent
well,
out here.
actually, you don't know all of them. I sent you the one that you needed to do prep work
Ooh.
on and watch the video for. But no, I got a couple other ones, so I'll jump into
Okay.
those first,
Got
just
you.
because
Okay.
these are the ones that I don't think we're gonna have too much to say, but there is some interesting stuff here. Um, so it looks like Starfield has come to the PlayStation 5, and it is quote unplayable at this time. Um, I'm looking at a Eurogamer article here. Starfield PS5 players are demanding refunds, reporting widespread bugs and glitches that leave the game unplayable. One user says, "Since launch, I've had over 20 freezes and crashes, unplayable." So I'll open the floor to you. I know you're not like, I mean, have you played Starfield? I don't take you as like the biggest like modern Bethesda kind of gamer, but
I mean, I was a huge Bethesda gamer back in the day, and I almost bought this game until I watched my cousins play it on Game Pass. And I walked in my buddy's room once and I was like, "Hey, like, is this Starfield?" And he was like, "Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on." And he like left. He was pissed. Jerry did that. And then
yeah,
I was going to buy the game because, I was like, I'm willing to take the risk, but I never did actually. I never did. I was like on a work trip or something while that game came out, so I just never tried it out and I didn't have Game Pass. But
yep.
One thing I will say is you never want to trust a man who wears the same leather jacket for over 15 years.
That is true. That is
And
good advice.
yeah, like, I think that Todd Howard at this point has not. I think I would like to say he tries his best at times, but it's just the business function he has. I don't know how many employees he has in different departments. I feel like it's pretty spacious and big. So
Mhm.
they are just a gaming team that is just stuck in the past. They really are. The ultimate success of Skyrim and Oblivion, I think, has kind of done like irreversible damage on themselves, and they're really stuck in that loop and wanting to just re-encapsulate that feel of a video game.
Yeah.
And same with the Fallout games too. Like, I mean, they're good back in the day, but
Mhm.
I don't know. You gotta reinvent the wheel sometimes. And when it
Yeah.
comes to this going over onto the PlayStation, and it's just so if it's quote unquote unplayable, you know, that's just the cherry on top of the shit situation they have. They got a video
Mhm.
game that isn't really that good and it's unplayable. Like,
Mhm.
what do you
Yeah, that's
do?
tough. Yeah, my thoughts on this are so in the article, it says so there was the one person who said that they've had over 20 freezes and crashes. It's unplayable. We got another uh, player saying tried all proposed fixes and saved uninstall and reinstall for last. Now the game won't even load. This is beyond ridiculous. I can't even land on planets or try to do anything other than sit in my ship or the game will crash. Which that's a very funny image. Just a guy in this big spaceship.
Yeah,
I can't go outside.
bro. And not to mention, like, if the game does work, you got 20 load screens in between every action you do.
Yes, yeah. Um, see, someone else says, I've called their tech support line and left a message and submitted a ticket. I've done every single troubleshooting step, and it's the only game I own that hard freezes like this constantly. I feel seriously ripped off. I want to play it because I like what I actually did get to play, but this is BS. I've shelved it. Um, and like, we don't need to go through all these different testimonials, but I think what's interesting here is like we have I mean, it's like a meme how buggy Bethesda games are. You know what I mean? Like it is
Mm,
it is interesting that they just got a pass on doing that for so long, you know? Like I mean I remember playing like I had multiple like at one point playing through Skyrim, one of the companions like bugged out and um it was like I was doing his quest and he like just kept saying the same shit. Like his he got stuck in the same like audio line
yeah,
and it was just repeating the same voice line faster and faster and faster until it sounded like demons talking to me.
yeah.
And I couldn't complete the quest and I had to just restart because I was like locked into like an event that couldn't progress. Um, and like just shit like that and that's that was back in the day but like I mean they've got a reputation for it and I guess the thing that might be interesting here is like they did get a pass for it and now they don't and I'm wondering like what the difference is and my theory is like you know when you were playing Oblivion and when you were playing Skyrim when they came out, it felt like you were playing something that really was on like the cutting edge. The games were ambitious. They were like trying to do shit that
Yeah.
no other game was doing. And now it's like, is Starfield really that much? Like let's be charitable and say it is like ambitious and it is trying to. Is it doing enough to justify that with like the inflation of the and like I mean you could just there's so many games that just fucking work that you could play right here and now and like I don't know.
Look,
It's just interesting to me.
you got a household name serving fast food.
Mm.
That's what's going on here. And at the end of the day, like, they kind of got the same recipe and the, dirty calories for the past decade that people are just consuming. So
Yeah.
it's just, they really I have a theory as to why this new not Elden Ring, Elder Scrolls game ain't coming out is because I think they're genuinely afraid of it. It has nothing to do with the timing of GTA 6 or anything like that. I'll be honest,
Mhm.
whenever they released that trailer, which was like 2019 or 2018, they didn't even start on the fucking project yet. I bet you they
Yeah,
started the development of that game after Starfield. And then,
yeah,
you know, they've worked probably pretty hard on it, but they're afraid to launch that game out because
yeah,
everything they've done is just an utter failure. I mean,
yeah.
people
I
appreciated the stealth release for Oblivion remaster or whatever, but that's just that stealth release is just a band-aid on a bigger problem.
yeah,
So
I think I'd agree with that. So
yeah,
yeah,
I've
that's
lost
that's all
faith,
there is
bro.
to it. Yeah, I definitely feel the same. Yeah, like I said, nothing big, but there's something going on, and there's something there. Another small little rapid fire story. I found this kind of interesting. So I'm on the callofduty.com website right now, a place I never thought I'd go.
Oh Lord.
But they've got an accessibility update for Call of Duty Black Ops 7. As part of a new free accessibility pilot program, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 now supports Cephable, a platform that enables players to control games using alternative inputs such as voice commands, face expressions, or head movement, and customize buttons through the Cephable mobile or desktop app. So it's a really big like accessibility win here. I mean, implemented controls for people who like don't have usage of like the fine motor skills required for like a controller and everything. And I'm all for if more people want to do the skibbity toilet boss fights and stuff. Like, hey, more power to them.
Yeah.
So not really like I don't know how much discussion there is to be had about that. I do find it interesting that it says on here the pilot is live today in Black Ops 7, bringing these free optional control methods to campaign zombies, Dead Ops Arcade, and the firing range across all platforms. But it sounds like maybe not multiplayer. And it says in here though that they have like anti-cheat implemented um, to like maintain fair play.
Oh, that don't matter for that franchise.
Yeah, no. I don't give a fuck about
Yeah.
that. I'm just saying it's it is. I think like who's buying Call of Duty for the zombies? Yes, I could see that, but ain't nobody buying Call of Duty for the campaign, right?
Nah.
You're
Oh,
buying it for the multiplayer, and so if you're not going the whole hog, if you can't implement it to where you know like people can take it into multiplayer lobbies, I'm feeling like it's still kind of falling a little short. But I also I'm not a person who like uses these tools, and I'm not a person who is implementing them into the game. So I mean, my
man,
opinion's not really the
I don't even have an opinion for it, to be honest. Like really, like
mm,
the last two times I've bought in a Call of Duty game was because Rogaine forced me to.
forced you,
Yeah,
like
he's
a gunpoint,
be
or
like, please, if I'll pay half of them if you just play the multiplayer with me. And then we're
damn.
playing the game together, and he's bitching and complaining. I'm like, dude, what are we doing here?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
I just think it's honestly I think it's the
God.
main reason I wanted to shout this out. I guess is like I didn't know this technology was like out there, but that's cool. Like you know you can just say like you can. It sounds like you can like attach keywords to where like if you say fire, it'll shoot your gun and stuff. And that's cool. I didn't know the technology was there. So
I mean,
that's the main reason I wanted to highlight it, I guess.
yeah, that's interesting. I'd be curious to see how that'd be implemented for, I don't know, a fucking better video game. So, uh, you know, we need stepping stones somewhere. So,
Yeah. Well, you gotta keep in mind like at the end of the day, it's all going to be profit driven. So like what Activision is saying by doing this is that they think like there's enough of a market for like people who will use these features to like buy the game to make it worth the time it took to integrate it and like the
mm,
money involved. At the end of the day, like that's only because they have a massive player base. I think it'll be probably quite a while until we see these kinds of features like in indie games or whatever. Like you probably can't play. You're probably not playing Peak with this anytime soon. I mean,
Well,
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
imagine this function in a new Pokemon game where you could say, "Hey Pikachu, use Thunderbolt," and it uses the
That would
move.
be that would be fucking fire.
Yeah, so
Now you're
like
talking. Hold up.
yeah, so like that could be used for some cool stuff. Like if it
Yeah.
was just like that would make it to where we're getting a little bit hotter media whenever it comes to like it doesn't need to be everything, but if it's like slight little things here and there for like a Pokemon battle, I mean that's a
Yeah.
part of the show. Yelling at your
Yeah. Yeah.
Pokemon to do moves against the other Pokemon.
Yeah. Especially, I was gonna say, especially when you have that like tie-in to like the in-universe like thing of it. I don't know. I'm actually very interested in like in the technology here. I'm interested in like alternative like controls for games and stuff. You know, it's always satisfying to watch somebody like play Elden Ring on a DDR dance pad or something. You know, just stuff
Yeah,
like
sure.
that.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
you know, um, this is a much more serious thing than that. But like the concept, I am interested in this technology. I would have to
Yeah.
say, you really sold me on it. You picked the perfect example
Yeah.
to reel me in.
And Bethesda can release their 15th copy of Elden Ring so you can do voice commands for your dragon shouts.
Skyrim. You got to stop. You're gonna lose your gamer cred. You keep saying Elden Ring instead of Skyrim.
Oh, God, dude.
You're
Well,
gonna lose your gamer
it's
cred.
just a better video game. I don't know. It's always on my mind.
You should spend more time thinking about Elden Ring.
You
I would say.
should. Yeah, it's
Um,
I shouldn't stray Elden Ring like that though.
yeah. Sorry if you're
God
getting
damn
like
it.
a flashbanged when I open these new tabs.
No, it
When I
looks
go
like
back to my notes.
you are though.
Yeah. Oh, I am. Yeah, it's blowing me up. But next up, so we had kind of two stories. We can put them together. Man, you know, we're going to be talking a lot of Pokemon today, I guess, because you brought it up with the voice controls. It's in the main segment for today, but also a couple of these news stories.
It's a
There's
very
some
Pokemon
wild
themed
stuff going
episode.
on in the outskirts of the Pokemon fandom. So, well, do you want to start with the TCG or do you want to start with Pokemon Go?
I feel like we'll start with Pokemon Go and we'll escalate it from there. It does feel like there is just like a virus going around the community.
There's something in the water.
Yeah, there's something obnoxious going on. Let's give a little bit of pre-context here. You go ahead, user, and then we'll queue up the video.
Okay, so this video is from a Pokemon Go championship series like regional tournament. Um, and we've got two players here in the middle of a match battling with their teams, and the guy on the right here is coming out of the losers bracket. And he's really hyped because he's about to win. Presumably, I don't know what the prize payout and stuff is, but he's presumably going to win a bunch of money. And you know, doing something that he cares a lot about, clearly.
I mean, it's a regional
And
championship, bro. This is like a legit thing.
oh yeah, yeah. No, there's probably a ton of people here, and you know, there's money on the line. There's spectators, and there's passion. Like these are people who you know they play a lot of Pokemon Go. I'm sure. So yeah, let's watch what happens when he wins and how. And we'll talk about what happened after that.
He is the first time champion for himself and your 2026 Orlando champion!
Incredible series from Firestar, pulling out all the stops, all the Pokemon, taking us to a decisive.
All right, so you can see there he drops the headset on the ground, does a fist pump, does kind of a two arm cheer, and then yeah.
He looks very
And
thrilled that he got that dub.
he because he fucking is, and the tournament officials responded to that by giving him a game loss and disqualifying him, and making his opponent win instead. They deemed that celebration as unsportsmanlike, and yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that decision. I could tell you're losing your fucking mind about it.
It's so crazy. Like,
Yeah.
do you see how excited he is for this? Like look at these buttons he has on his collar.
Yeah, he's got it was that a Mimikyu and Magikarp, maybe it looks like.
I think possibly something like a Magikarp over there, but like he's got custom pins on his collar there. Like he's ready to compete. And
Yep.
bro, like the fact that I don't know how soy we have to get to disqualify a guy just showing his joy on winning a
Yeah.
match. Like, obviously
It's
these guys haven't been to like a what is it, an Apex tournament where it's like all of the fighting tournaments in the summertime. What's that called?
Evo.
Evo. Bro, those guys celebrating. I
Oh,
mean,
they're popping the fuck off.
like it's like backflips and like throwing controllers and dude, like they just got to understand that when you're going into competitive, like dude, you're a competitor. You want to represent yourself. You're an
Yeah.
you're an opponent. Like this is what happens when you get the dub. Like it's like winning something is like crazy. It's a crazy feeling. And they
Yeah.
just ripped it away from us. So wild,
Yeah.
man.
Yep. Because I think that there is
Ugh.
I think that there is a line of at a certain point your celebration can become disrespectful. I think that there's a certain line where like, you know, if you like
Like
I
getting up in
think
his
that
face and shit.
yeah, I think enforcing because I used to play Magic competitively, and there was lots of stories about this. I remember a story about a guy who like took his opponent's cards after he beat him and like shoved them down his pants and like smeared them on his balls. And like that's too far. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't. Another guy like ate somebody's cardboard or something. Like there's things you probably shouldn't do. You know, there's things that are a little beyond the pale. And I think that like there should be some kind of rules and regulation and enforcement to like do that. Especially like he did drop the headset. If he like straight up smashed that shit into a million pieces, like even then if I'm the tournament organizers, I'm stoked about that because that's like a iconic like. I mean, there's the fucking Clash album cover where they're smashing the guitar. It's like that's iconography. When you can use that and be like, this is how fucking stoked people are about our game and our competitive scene, and don't you want to be a part of it? Like that's great marketing.
Bro, it looks like he's even wearing like an athletic undershirt underneath his polo.
Oh yeah, he's dressed like he's going to the golf course.
yeah, like he borderline does kind of look like an athlete.
Yeah. And so I just like I think those regulations are important, but they have to be appropriated correctly. Like you have to utilize them to actually reinforce or to reinforce the behaviors that you want to see and to like, punish the ones you don't. And there's no evidence to me that this should be the kind of behavior that they don't want to see. This is just a man being excited about something he cares so much about, and he's such a great ambassador to the game in that moment. He's gonna go because they didn't tell him he lost until a while later. By the way, the judges like deliberated on it. He went and did a winner's interview after this and was like, I was so stoked, like, this is like I've been working so hard for this, and like, and then just to turn around and like fucking rip that from his hands, it's insane. Like I said, I just can't believe that this is like not good for the game to have moments like this. You have to like if you don't have emotion in your competitive scene, then you just that's the thing that draws people in. People have to narrativize. There's a reason that like we attach ourselves to players in sports, not always like teams. Is like because we care about the storyline of like their career, and like I care about the storyline of this guy's career. I don't even play Pokemon Go, but this is horseshit. I hate this arc. This chapter fucking sucks. They ruined it.
Man, I'm just hoping that this at least boosted the man's reputation. He's literally a news headline right now. Maybe he's got some more Twitter followers, or maybe he makes content somewhere, or whatever thing he's got going on. Like, hopefully traffic's going his way, at least because there is a spotlight on him now, and, maybe there's a little bit of comeback here after getting stripped of fucking win off of you like that, just because you were excited that you won a match. That good hopes that, on this guy's future, at least when it comes to a different direction. That's silly.
The next story we've got involves a shooting taking place over Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
At a Kroger. Indianapolis Kroger parking lot. And I do want to stress before we get into this, like we might be making some jokes and stuff. At the end of the day, a man was shot and seems to be like have been seriously harmed. I believe he's still alive. I haven't had any like updates to the contrary of that. So I don't want to make light of that, but I do want to make light of the situation of like where the Pokemon card game is at, that this is taking place in the fucking first place, right?
I mean,
So don't mistake those. Don't get the wires crossed.
Taking a jab or a dig in a scalper, that's aside the point from the severity of the situation, like User said. But yeah, I mean, to what I've heard about this is, like, I don't know, like the fact that this is happening over a fucking card game is, it's kind of I'm kind of speechless, honestly. I don't really even know where to start or begin talking about this. This is just where we're at. It says here, I'll read the article real quick. An argument over Pokemon cards led to a shooting in a Kroger parking lot on the near east side of Indianapolis on Saturday. According to the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department, officers were called to the Kroger located at 680 Twin Air Drive around 6:51 p.m. to investigate a shooting. When police arrived at the scene, they found a man suffering from injuries consistent with gunshot wounds in the store's parking lot. Yeah, so just, I don't know, you think that maybe there's like a scaffold inside of the Kroger and then it led out to the parking lot and got shot over some
I mean, he
fucking
might have
cards,
just
most
got
likely.
shot and like somebody took him outside. Like,
I mean,
let's
that's,
get you some fresh
yeah.
air. You've got bullets inside you. I don't know.
Shit.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of the specifics of this. I don't know if anybody does. I don't know how much of that is out there, but from what it sounds like later on in the article, it says it wasn't somebody trying to steal a card from another person. It sounds like potentially they were arguing over like trying to buy maybe like the last box or whatever of a new Pokemon set or something. But yeah, I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do here from the Pokemon standpoint. I mean, at the end of the day, what the like Pokemon TCG corporate is incentivized to do is nothing, because they're printing $1,000 bills. Like they've got a legal counterfeit system, basically. Yeah. But this just can't continue in the status quo. I mean, this is the most extreme example of it, of like this kind of like incited violence around the Pokemon TCG, but it's not the first. It's just the most. There's been plenty of scuffles. There's been plenty of people getting in each other's faces. All you can find. I mean, if you go down a rabbit hole of Pokemon scalpers on YouTube and shit, you can find this stuff all day.
Yeah. And what I want to add on to this as well, this was just from like Moist Critical's video whenever I was watching about this situation. He also did reference and say that there have been tracking devices on lots of people's cars when it comes to Pokemon cards, and the actual like delivery service for the Pokemon cards. Like they've been just like putting trackers on like semi trucks and shit. And
yeah, like vendors going to conventions and stuff.
Vendors going to conventions too. Like there's just, it's kind of just crazy. Yeah, there's nothing else to it. It's just kind of bizarre, honestly. It's very bizarre to me.
Yeah, it's really tough because all of my like, because I mentioned Magic earlier. I've played a lot of like card games and stuff, and I'm not like a marketing or a sales guy or any of that stuff, or a logistics guy for that matter, but like I worked in some card shops and I've been involved in those communities for so long, and it sucks because what you don't want to do is really print to demand and have like because ultimately this comes from an issue of scarcity. People are getting into arguments because they have these things that have this perceived value, and they all want to obtain them, and only so many of them can obtain them, right? And that's where like the conflict comes from. And so what you don't want to do from the marketing department of the TCG companies, like from their perspective, is you don't actually want to print to demand, because once you print to demand, if there's a million boxes of the set out and people can just get them wherever they want, they start opening those, then the secondary market collapses, because like there's no, you know, a base set holographic Charizard is only worth so much because of its scarcity and because of its, like, you know, that one obviously there's some provenance and some like you know, we attach an extra value to it because it's like this sought after like nostalgic thing as well. But like at the end of the day, if there was 100 million more of those entering the market, they would also be $1. You know, they would lose all their value too. So you don't, like, from the company side, you do have to have some kind of scarcity or the secondary market falls out. And if the secondary market falls out, people don't want to buy the cards because they stop being worth anything. And unfortunately, no one plays the Pokemon TCG. that's the main thing.
I did once,
'Cause
bro.
if you just, I love it. I've played a lot of it, and I really enjoy it.
I went to a tournament in Independence once, man.
At the Game Cafe.
Yeah, it was at the Game Cafe
Hell
while I
yeah.
was in high school,
been
bro.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like, I'm telling you, it was either my buddy Dave who got to battle a kid, and you know, he had a Pyroar that could he could take no damage from EX cards, right? So it's just an anti-EX deck, and he was just telling kids, no, you can't attack. You know who
He's
I
like,
played
the kid
against?
shows up like, I've got my Melmetal EX.
Oh, dude,
I
yeah,
just
he was
wanna
so
play
proud of
with
it. So
Yeah.
proud of his EX, and then
Yeah, fuck you, kid.
he just had a Pyroar. It was like, you can't. And then for me,
Mhm.
oh, I'm telling you, it was a Discord mod on the 5th level of hell I was playing against.
I believe it, man. I've seen some of them guys.
Man,
I've probably seen this guy.
bro, I'm talking like whatever the 3 Mirror Sprite Pokemon are from Diamond and Pearl. He had them out, and he was alternating them from the bench, and the only word I kept hearing was mana leak or energy leak. And he was just moving energy all over the board, and he did like 7 plays at a time, and then he'd be like, I attack you for 200. And I was like, okay, so I'm battling, you know, the fucking Kingpin, and my buddy gets to have fun. I never played Pokemon ever again. No.
Well, that all your personal experience aside, yeah, at the end of the day, it really does come down to if more people played the game, then more of the value would be in owning the cards for usage in playing the game rather than just like filling up binders with them and reselling them. So it's got to be like any solution that actually addresses this has so many things to like actually consider. Like, so there's a giant spider web with like angles going everywhere, and you know, I don't envy the person who has to figure this out. Something has to be done, but I'm worried that nothing will, and they'll just keep saying, well, we got a money printer on our hand. We're gonna milk this thing till the wheels fall off, right? So
I think so. It kind of started when Logan Paul did this shit, bro. Not gonna lie, 2021, he started this shit.
But yeah, it's sad. You know, like I said, don't want to make light, or you know, we're having fun, but don't want to make light of the man who, you know, is injured and all this, because that does suck. But this situation is just, it's untenable. I really hope we get some real change that does something, and I want to see the Pokemon card game thrive. I really do. Like I said, I've always liked it. I've played a good amount of it, but yeah. So that's all we got for that. Do you wanna get into our main segment here? Or do you have any other newsy types of topics you wanna drop in?
No news, brother. Yeah, no news at all. I say we get into the meat and potatoes. Let's go ahead and start off with, you know, I feel like Pokemon's a good segment. It's already on this discussion.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, let's get to it.
I'm curious to why out of the Pokemon games you recommended Black and White. And you know, we are a man down, but I will be maintaining the floor for the conversation. So I will
I
lend
believe in you.
my perspective on the game, but yeah, man, talk to me.
So, Pokemon Black, I think, is a very interesting game from like our generation, like our age brackets perspective. I feel like for a lot of folks who grew up with Pokemon the way that we did, this is the generation that they sat out. Like if you were born, let's say like 95 to like 98, something like that. Um like you might have missed this one because like you played Diamond and Pearl, you played Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and then like you were in high school, and then you were like, "And this ain't really my bag no more."
Right. Yeah.
um,
I mean, that's almost my exact timeline, but I played X and Y in high school.
I
So,
mean, some people did come back. You know, some people did come back and play other games and stuff. But this one, I think a lot of people did sit out on.
yeah.
And I find that really unfortunate because Pokemon Black and White is not my favorite Pokemon game. My favorite Pokemon game is Pokemon Black 2 and White 2. But you can't just jump into I mean, you
Yeah,
could,
you guys
but like
start at the
you
beginning.
yeah, but you wouldn't
Yeah.
appreciate the reasons that it is my favorite game without jumping in on these. So that's where I had to recommend it. But I think that in this generation, in Generation 5, this is coming out in 2010 on the DS. I think that this generation is like because this is the last one that's 2D, you know, X and Y and beyond, they're all 3D games. There's
Mhm.
a lot of like new design philosophies and decisions that they make about what they want to do with the series that come in like immediately after this. I mean, this was, I believe, Junichi Masuda. This was the last generation he directed, and he was like the guy for the previous, all the ones we grew up with. So, in a lot of ways, this feels to me like the platonic ideal, like this is the culmination. It's like every generation was building and building and building and building, and then this is like the apex mountain of it. And then not to say that the other stuff is all bad and it's down because it's downhill, but it's just different. You know,
Mm.
they climbed the peak of the mountain with this, and then they're like, well, now what do we got to do? Let's get on a boat and sail or something instead, because we already climbed the mountain. We already got, this is the peak of this. We got to do something different now. So that's part of why I recommended it. It's also, it's a game that's really important to me. And it's a game that I knew that y'all hadn't played. So I mean that really at the end of the day, that's the main thing that it came
Right.
down to. But if you're asking about why this one specifically, that those would be the reasons. But before I get into more about like what makes it so special to me, I want to hear the unfiltered raw truth. I want to know what you thought of this game.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, first off, bro, talk about some cage roast. like,
Mm-hmm.
like playing a Pokemon game. Man, it's been 10 years. Something like that. I literally had Jabin come into my chat saying, hey, punching birds out of the sky is a choice. And I was like, you leave me alone. I was like, cut me some slack. I was like, I mean, I'm feeling like Unk over here, figuring out that, a fighting type isn't, good on a bird. And I was like, look,
Mhm.
just, there's some readjustments just going into it, just
Yep.
off the bat. Like there's immediate skill issue with a lot of
Yep.
the battles, right? Overall, I thought what was interesting too throughout my gameplay was typically I am like going through TMs and HMs. And every playthrough you gotta have an HM slut. I'm gonna just say it. You gotta have your little HM guy there and load him up with
Mhm.
HMs, and then when you don't need them anymore, you put in your real battle Pokemon back in. I don't know. Do you
Yep.
know if like other people game that way? That I feel like that's common.
Oh yeah. No, I mean there
Yeah.
wouldn't be a word for it. Now the word that so it's kind of fallen out of favor. When I was growing up, and this is some crazy shit to say is gonna sound,
Yeah.
this is the kind of thing people say
Oh.
to get away with saying some awful shit. But when I was growing up, everybody I knew, it was like, that Bidoof or that Zigzagoon or whatever, that's your HM slave. That's
Yeah.
what they used to call it back in the day.
We always just called
I
them hoes.
understand.
The HM hoe.
What you were in a different circle than I was, because that's
Yeah.
not what I have. We weren't talking like that. I find it funny that you picked HM slut as your term.
Yeah.
I have grown to start saying my HM friend, because at the end of the day, that's what Pokemon's about. It's about having, it's about cultivating relationships with these strange creatures and befriending them.
Oh, come on,
And
man. He's got a job and that's it.
no, he's my friend. Because look,
You
I
paint him.
couldn't do this without him. Just like I can't do this podcast without you. You know what I mean?
Right.
In a lot of ways, I'm making you surf, and I'm making you use strength, and I'm making you cut. Okay, but that's out of love. Okay, that is out of love. You're still
all
my
I'm
friend.
saying
You're
is
my
whenever
HM friend.
your HM Pokemon's at the welfare office begging for some cash because you have them work for free, that's a battle you
It
have
ain't.
to
That's
deal
the thing.
with
It
later.
ain't for free, because I'll still put an XP share on him. He's still getting a share.
He get okay.
he's
He's gonna
still getting a
be
share.
a bodybuilder in the background.
Yep, and he's gonna have the nicest spot in the box when he's done. Okay, he's gonna have a whole box to himself. I'm gonna put a special wallpaper on it, and I'm gonna name it the Goat. Okay, and he's gonna have his own little pasture just for him, because he's
Just
a king and
only
he earned
fill
it. That's
that
why
box.
he's my friend.
Only fill that box with like attractive looking Pokemon. So he's just like, or he or she's just like, hey.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it
we're
go.
going to talk about the game here. Right off to what I did notice, and you kind of gave me a disclaimer too. This is a soft reboot to the franchise, because a lot of it was kind of very gracious and holding your hand and felt very kiddish, and that's kind of what I felt overall first kind of going in, was like feeling like a kid again, because it's you feel like a kid in a good way and a bad way. I'll put it that way, because I felt like a kid playing a Pokemon game again, because it was 2D and it felt like I had a DS again, and that was a lot of fun. And I was like, man, this is cool. And the bad way is just kind of like hey, here is a bunch of the monotonous shit that you already knew about Pokemon. Like, I'm gonna explain the Poke Center for 5 minutes, and stuff like that. So it's kind of a hurdle to get through the very beginning. But it slowly does start picking up a lot more after that. I felt like after probably the second gym, it was really picking up really well, and I could the pace of the game was getting pretty sweet and juicy. One thing I did forget about Pokemon was there's always one little area in every Pokemon game that I'm not a fan of. And that would be like the desert area, getting buffed by, or buffeted, is that the term? When you're in battle by the sandstorm and whatever, but
That sandstorm.
just not a big fan of sand, I guess. Like fucking Anakin Skywalker, some cringe stupid shit. Too much sand. Wasn't a fan of the sand area. But that's expected per Pokemon game. And then let's see. I think that all the gym leaders were really cool. There were like, it does seem a little unlevel at times here and there. Like they were kind of, the gym leaders themselves were cool. The types of Pokemon they had, I was like, okay, I was kind of expecting maybe a poison gym, or I was expecting like a grass gym or something. I felt like I really didn't get too much of those. It was kind of like different types I wasn't really expecting. If you remember on the top of your head what the gym types were, the first one was a normal
I can do
type.
them all.
Okay, let me guess. One is normal.
No,
shit.
One is weird, because the first gym in this game picks its type to be what is super effective against your starting type.
That's right. Okay. The second
So
gym
the first
is
type is
normal.
actually 3 different types. Yep.
Okay. So you have a challenge gym. We'll just say that. A normal gym.
Yep.
You have a fighting gym. I don't know if that's in the ranking of it. But
No, you don't have a fight. You have Fighting Elite 4. No fighting gym.
oh, you have a bird gym.
Yep, got a bird gym.
You got an ice gym. You got a, was it a bug gym?
Yep. It goes fire, water, grass, depending on what your starter is. And then it goes normal, bug, electric, and then it goes ground, and then flying, and then ice, and then dragon. Those are the
Okay.
gym leaders.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
And this is my favorite cast of gym leaders in the game. I really like all of them. I think they're so cool.
I think the gym leaders overall were really cool, and they each had like their own little character traits, and it kind of emphasized each one pretty well. I think.
They actually like show up and do stuff in the story, and like that part was cool.
I think the only gym leader that really didn't do much was the ice gym leader. And when you just show up on him, he's like, "Hey, I'm the coolest guy you've ever seen." And then you do your battle, and he's kind of got some cool wear on. Well, wait, no, he's more proactive after you beat him. I'm pretty sure he does stuff.
Yeah, he like goes to the tower to like track down Team Plasma and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was.
And then he's like fighting off him and Charon have that cool moment where they're like fighting off all the Team Plasma grunts, and they're like, "Just go, leave us behind." And Charon's like, "There's so many of them." Like, actually, that scene kind of goes hard.
Yeah. Speaking of Team Plasma, we got to talk about Team Plasma. It is such a different like take on like an antagonistic like team that you have to go against. It's very much like they really wanted to make them involved in the storyline. Like a lot of times it's kind of like a premise. This one's actually like, hey, we got like lore and like initiative, and like what we're doing feels purposeful in our objective, which is to liberate all Pokemon. But all the grunts are dressed up as like crusaders, and they're brainwashed by one guy. And then you run into this character named N, which what I will say, this might be a hot take, but I was not rocking with that character. I would almost say he's like maybe as of right now the least interesting character that I thought. Like he kind of just seemed like a little off the wall for me. Maybe he serves a bigger purpose in this continuation of the games, which I'm curious about. But coming off into this one, like N wasn't like, I never felt like he was like a big moving piece in the puzzle for Team Plasma. I mean, even though he resurrects and gets his legendary Pokemon, which is what the main leader wanted him to do. I just have shade towards like vulnerable pawn characters, and he is like kind of cringe on top of it too. So I was just like, okay, like I'm not really meshing with this character. I couldn't relate to the character too well. A lot of people love this guy. I couldn't see it.
A lot of people do. I mean, he's from my understanding, like a pretty like fan favorite kind of a character.
Yeah.
I mean, I love him personally.
I think I was trying to see what the hubbub was about while I was playing it, and every time he popped up, I don't know, he just kind of annoyed me. I think his dialogue is a little too kiddish for me. And I would say maybe that's just what you get when you go into a Pokemon Black game as a 30-year-old man who doesn't even know what types mesh with each other. So
that could very well be the truth.
Yeah, like so that's I'm kind of like a very like unk side of this. I relate a lot to the older games, but I'll be honest, like this Pokemon Black game isn't too far off from age wise of the older ones, bro. So
yeah, not at all.
It's not.
Like
it is a pivot point, though. I gotta preface that. Like, it's very noticeable how this pivots away into trying to curate something new when it comes to a Pokemon movement to why we get the games we get now. I will say that. It is that.
Yeah.
I would say this is the paradigm shift of the gaming series.
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about N, and then kind of circle into
let's go into that.
The story larger. So N for me, like the reason it works for me is in as a character kind of like scratches a check mark of something that like, as a Pokemon fan from early childhood, I've always wanted, which is, I mean, he's a character who can speak to Pokemon, right? And
That's
you see
right.
this in the you see this like in the anime. You got like Meowth talking and stuff, and like Mewtwo can communicate and everything. But like, um, what I like, I used to as a kid, I would walk home. I was kind of like a latchkey kind of kid, and so my mom, she'd be working, and I had I had a single mom, and she'd be working. I'd walk myself home from school, and I had like a 15-minute walk or whatever. And on that walk every day, I would like imagine a Pokemon adventure, and like depending on what the weather was
Yeah.
doing, I would encounter new little freaks walking around. I'd be like, today I caught a Poliwag, and like and like that's how in my brain this shit was, bro. I had brainworms, and they were all fucking Weedle, um, Weedle and Caterpie. But so that like the fact that in can speak to Pokemon is like that's just an appealing thing in general for me. But what I find really interesting with him as a character is I know you were saying maybe like the like exploited pawn kind of character doesn't work for you, but he is like you actually get to see through his dialogue and his actions throughout the game that like he isn't sure what's happening. He like he is this weird outsider who was like, I mean, in his lore, he was raised in the wild by Pokemon. Like he wasn't socialized. He
Yeah.
was like found by Getsus somehow. And I don't know if there's like any real heads who like deep know the lore, like sound off. But my understanding is like he's this kid who can speak to Pokemon, and Getsus finds him and thinks because he has this affinity to like speak with Pokemon, he can use him to like position him as this hero in the legend who can awaken the legendary dragon Pokemon, and then he can use him for his advantage. And so you see in the dialogue they talk about how like they only put in around like abused Pokemon who would talk about how much they hated being in captivity and how much they hated like humans and stuff. And so that like they like brainwashed him into thinking that all Pokemon domestication was bad and that all Pokemon were against it. And so when he meets you in that first cutscene after this gets us his speech in the second town you go to, what's happening there is like he's hearing your Pokemon like be like, I love traveling with this kid. It's so awesome.
Right.
And like
Yeah.
that fucking breaks his brain. That's why he has to like battle you and take this interest in you, because that's the first time he's seen somebody who like, whose Pokemon feel that strongly about their. And so it all ties into like what
Right.
I think is the strongest narrative of Pokemon, which is like, anytime Pokemon they can try and take some swings with this and that was a story, but at the end of the day, what works is these creatures and the bonds that they form with humans, and the people who used Pokemon like tools losing to the people who use them like friends, and like that is the type of shit that just always works on me, because
I
that's how
got
I feel
you.
about it. Like I like I like naming my Pokemon and making attachments to them, and like telling little stories about like how because I never grew out of that kid walking home from school throwing Pokeballs at Poliwags. You know what I mean? Like I never grew out of that on some level, and so like that's in my brain. That's how I narrativize it when I play. And so this storyline has always really worked for me in the Gen 5 games. I have to say because of that. But
Got you.
I get like if you don't have all that neurodivergency like peppering your experience,
Yeah.
it might not land quite the same.
Yeah. I went straight for battles when I was a kid playing the game. I'll be quite honest. I was
Mhm.
playing the battles. I had fun playing this. I think overall I was just excited in general because it's been a while since I played a Pokemon game.
Mhm.
Um I think that like I would say overall, when it comes to the other generations I played, this is pretty up there because I like how there's just new original Pokemon for this generation and no old Pokemon as you're going through your first run. All the
Mhm.
Pokemon were pretty familiar for me because these were all in like a big box set of Pokemon cards I was opening at the time, like a decade ago. So I knew these Pokemon that way.
Mhm.
Um, One of my complaints, I will say, and it's just a frustrating thing to deal with whenever, like, depending on what your team is going into a battle. Um, you go into the Fighting Elite Four guy, all their Pokemon know Earthquake, and they only spam Earthquake. And then you go into a bird like gym, they all know Earthquake, and they're all spamming Earthquake. There's a lot of Pokemon spamming ground moves, and it was really, really, really frustrating me. Um, maybe it's just bad RNG and the bad comp that you go into because you don't want them to just be fucking idiots and just uh throw like you know a gust of leaves at you whenever you're a fire type, right? Like that'd be lame.
Yeah.
Like you if they have the artillery, I would want them to at least, compete, but it was getting a little bit obnoxious, I think, towards the end. And it did
Yeah.
feel like everybody had a fucking earthquake or a rock fall or something. Like it was like a fire chandelier Pokemon that knew earthquake or something. Like it was pissing me off. Like I don't know if that was the exact scenario, but that's what I felt like I was going through. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
think
I think that's fair. I mean, I think that I'm going to just start off and say skill issue. First off, but to engage with it seriously, um, they have to do a certain amount of like, because that's the obvious drawback to a monotype team. It's like, okay, well, if you're a fire type guy and I just roll up with my water types, what you gonna do about it?
mhm,
Um, so like they've got to have some grass and some electric moves on there. They've got to have like something like a Pokemon that uses Sunny Day to make your water moves weaker. They've got to have something to like counteract the like obvious weakness. And as a player
right,
too, that's how you should approach team building. Like your team building is okay, well, my starter is a water type, which means I'm, weak to grass and electric. So I'm gonna grab a flying type to cover those grass types, and I'm gonna get a uh, I don't know, a ground type for the electric types, and then well now I have a ground type, and that's weak to grass as well, but I got that covered, but it's also weak to ice types, so now maybe I should get a fire type of my own, and like that's the flow chart that the game should kind of teach you to approach for yourself, and so like making the gym leaders and the boss battles and stuff follow that.
I was definitely way better at that as a kid. I'll say that. Like,
Mm,
what I will say, what's so interesting is like there for me, it feels like personally there is like a blatant skill issue based off of how old you are, because
mm,
um I don't know what it is. I would play Pokemon and be like, okay, these are the type comps. Like I understand this. I would spark stream up the
mm,
next day and it's just out the fucking window and I wouldn't remember. I'd be like, God
yeah,
damn it. Like trying to actually catch on the basic essentials of what Pokemon is when it comes to how to play the fucking basic game. Just it wasn't really showing up too well for me. But what I
yeah.
do want to
I
add
mean,
also,
I think that's defensible though, because at the end
yeah,
of the day, it is like hundreds of possible permutations of like how the types interact, and so like as some like I play a lot of Pokemon, and sometimes I'm still like, wait, is does bug resist ground, or like the weird ones like that sometimes still do trip me up. So
yeah. Overall, I'd say I had a good time playing the game, man. Um,
mm,
I would definitely like I need a Pokemon break for a minute. I'm not a mega fan of Pokemon,
yeah,
so but what I love about Pokemon is the time away from it, like makes you excited to get back in whenever it's time to play again. And I just
Mhm.
never went out of my way to play a Pokemon game for a while. I think maybe I did play a little bit of the remaster of Sapphire on the
Mm.
DS2, possibly, or was that the 3DS?
That was 3DS.
Yeah, I think I did that possibly. I just don't remember too much of it, but I'm pretty sure I did.
Mhm.
Well, rating's gonna be strange because we're a man down, but I guess we'll just get that later. Um, but
Well, what's your rating?
I'm gonna give this. It's hard, bro, because I
Mhm.
never was really thinking of the rating, like playing through the game, or even really up until this point. But
Mhm.
um, nothing negative to it. I had fun. Um, I'd probably. I don't want to give it the safe bet because I feel like seven's like a safe bet placeholder answer. But
Yeah.
not gonna lie, it kind of just feels appropriate. Um, because this is a unique Pokemon game. I would almost say the other Pokemon games are like lower for me in a way. I might prefer Diamond
Mhm.
and Pearl over this one because of just Pokemon types, but there's no Pokemon story like and like a rival or like your rivals are interesting. The teams that Team Plasma you go against is like a religious brainwash cult. Like it's
Mhm.
very unique and different compared to every other Pokemon game I played.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm thinking, honest to God, I'll probably just give it a 7.5, just out of like overall differences, and there's some anomalistic uh things to this game compared to the rest of them. So
Mhm. Do you remember if you specifically gave Katamari a 7 or an 8? One of you gave it a 7 and one of you gave it an 8. I
uh,
don't remember who was who.
I gave Katamari an 8.
Okay. Then that is the still the number one game then.
Okay,
But Pokemon Black and White is entering the list at number 2.
cool. Yeah, because I want to just preface this again. Like, Pokemon is nowhere near like one of my favorite franchises at all, or anything that like I'm a diehard fan of. When it comes to casual Pokemon gaming and going through the story and leveling your Pokemon and grinding it out, it is like a perfect fun way to play. I feel like I wish I played it on a handheld rather than it being emulated. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Like it's in
Yep.
its truest form, it would feel better that way. But we do what we can do, and yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. I
All
don't know
right.
if I
Well,
even
that
said
wraps up.
anything, but I just threw words out there.
Yep. Sometimes that's what you got to do. That's why we pay you the big bucks.
That's right.
Yeah, so that'll do it for the Pokemon Black and White section. Now, Big Henny, you recommended a game to me. You and Jabin recommended that I play Tony Hawk's Underground.
That's right.
Now, why did you recommend that to me?
Tony Hawk's Underground is a very holds a special place in my heart. I think a lot of times whenever I was playing this game was a direct connection to a friendship I had growing up.
Okay.
No longer friends with this guy, but here and there we kind of check up on each other and just kind of see how we're doing. He seems to be good. Yeah, this I do connect a relationship with a buddy to this video game. There are lots of times I'd stay the night over at his house and we're having like little LAN parties with this game, eating pizza and junk food and stuff, and we're just having
Nice.
fun playing Tony Hawk and laughing at the absurdity of this game too. Like this was kind of like our sense of humor, and we'd watch Jackass while playing these games. Um, so
Mhm.
there's like a very very like a bonding type of relationship with this game for me. Also, when I finally was able to own this game myself, on the GameCube, because for a while I just didn't own this game at all. I just played at my buddy's house. There were times where I was trying to fit in with the skate kids, and I never had a skateboard, so I would always be like, man, I wish I could kick it with the skate kids. I never hung out with them after school because, uh, there's just no way to hang out with Raymore kids when you lived in Peculiar, like and you couldn't
Mhm.
drive. Bro, I would just plug this in and be like, I would eventually get like a Walmart skateboard that's like really shitty. And I'd skate around on this stupid little Walmart board. And I remember Jerry coming over and but man, this deck sucks ass, bro. And he'd pull his skateboard out and he'd like maybe land a kickflip. He'd be like, this is how you do it, dude.
Damn.
um, but yeah, bro, I was playing lots of Tony Hawk like around that time too, just being like, this is where I could skate. So, and I think I
Yep.
remembered. Do you remember at Walmart those skateboards with like the monster truck wheels on them?
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother Joe had some of those like for Christmas once, and it was just like impossible to fucking ride because it was like, yeah, you can. Like he's trying to push this fucking like monster truck skateboard out in the dirt, and it wasn't moving anywhere. It like requires a lot of effort to actually move around in that thing. Like it's probably the worst designed skateboard of all time.
Damn.
But yeah,
But
we
it
were
looks sick though.
right. We were all trying to skate. Me, Adam, and Joe. We were all trying to skate. Adam was the best skater. Of course.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a prehistory lesson to my adolescence to this video game, or antidote to it. I know where this conversation is going to lead, so I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, I just didn't fuck with this game. It's interesting. Like, I played some of the Tony Hawk games as a kid. I played some of the. I want to say I played like some combination of Pro Skater 1, 2, and 3. I'd go over to my cousin's house who was a lot older than me, and like I'd just be hanging out down in the basement like while my parents were watching the football game or whatever upstairs, and I'd just be playing Tony Hawk games. But like I was real young, and I was basically like, I guess playing them from like the perspective of literally just like like rolling around the town, like not actually doing the objectives and trying to like progress or anything. It was just like a sandbox. And this particular Tony Hawk game, it's essentially Pro Skater 5, right? Before they made Pro Skater 5. Like it's the fifth Tony Hawk game. What is
This
it, like 2005?
Yeah, Pro Skater 5, that's like a brand new almost video game, I'm pretty
That's
sure.
what I'm saying. They eventually
Yeah,
made a game called Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, but this
right.
was, for all intents and purposes, Pro Skater 5 when it came out.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah. So it was this game, Tony Hawk's Underground 2, and then they made American Wasteland after that. And then after
mm,
American Wasteland, they tried to make a Tony Hawk game called Tony Hawk Project 8, which was supposed to be
mm,
their take on a less arcadey skateboarding game into like a kind of a competitor video game to skate.
yeah,
So that's kind of like the timeline we're looking at that I know of.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I had dabbled a little bit, but I like as a kid, I did play a lot of SSX. I want to say SSX 3 is the one I played the most of. And I also played like some Jet Set Radio and stuff. Like I was playing games that are like conceptually similar to this. And yet like once I fired this game up, you would think I never played a video game before in my life. I mean, I could not get the hang of this game. Like just trying to play it and like string the tricks together and stuff. It's like I can learn fighting game combos. Like I can learn like, rhythm games, but something about like when you put it through the language of skateboarding terminology that I don't know, something short circuits and I just like fall over and smash my face into the curb. And that was basically my experience playing this game. And so it was like very frustrating in that there was like I see what the appeal is. You know what I mean? And like I get when things are going right in the game, like I got a few glimpses of like what it's like to be good at this game and to be capable of having fun with it. but I also got a lot of like this section that you've got playing as
Yeah.
the video.
Are you
Like,
just
this
supposed
is
to do a
me.
heel flip?
Which I can, but it's like you have to land it at a very like you have to like pixel perfect land it in between the couple there to like get the photograph for the photo shoot. And you got to
Yeah.
do these simple tricks, but it's just like making them happen like in a very particular spot. And I was here for a fucking hour doing this, bro. And that was like a lot of these like challenges were like that. It was like there was another one where you had to like pose like you had to like do a wall stamp or something on a wall that like was really annoying to get to. There was just so many spots where I was just stuck and just getting frustrated as hell. Like, I don't know. I mean, I really don't want to shit too much on the game for that kind of stuff because at the end of the day, that is a me thing. I don't vibe with like the gameplay of a lot of this stuff. Some of the places
Yeah.
where I will shit on the game are this game is obnoxious as hell. This game is 2005 as fuck. And
Hell yeah, baby.
and like, for some people that's a nice trip down memory lane. To me, there's parts of 2005 I'd like to leave in 2005 personally. And yeah, like some of like the language and some of the language that the real life skater men that show up in this game like say, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like, there's a part where one of the guys tells you you need like to prepare for a party, you gotta get on this like gardener's like little like truck thing. And he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and you need to load this thing up with babes by any means necessary. He's like, do whatever, you just get them on the thing. And I'm like, whoa, that is like crazy
It's
work.
just funny as fuck, dude.
Yep. And like, so there's some of that stuff. And like, I'm not gonna like trying to come in here and sound like you know
Like a
like
sissy
I'm not trying to
lib.
come in like a sissy lib. I'm not trying to sound like a sissy lib, but at the end of the day, it does like a little bit pepper my experience with the video game. And
I mean, never playing this game
like
before, and like, we're close to the same age, and you're not expecting like the dated like dialogue of this. Like,
yeah.
if you haven't played it, like it would shock anybody. You're like, oh, I thought I was just playing a skateboarding game, and you're like, well, I guess these are skateboarders. Like at the end of the
Yeah.
day,
Yeah, and there was like a weird thing with like there's like a part where like this like Japanese man or like he works in like an
oh,
Asian restaurant
in the
and
New
he's
York
like
level,
yeah, and he's like trying to teach you how to do tricks and stuff and he's like it's very clearly just like a white guy doing an accent
yeah, it
in the
is.
like voiceover and he's like saying shit like don't mess up this trick or you'll disrespect your family or dishonor your family or whatever. And I'm like, come on, bro. Like, did you really need all that? Like, that's the kind of stuff I will point to and be like, that's tough. It just kind of ties into like how I feel about a lot of the game, which is it's just obnoxious and like
Yeah,
it
because
is
I think there's
fun.
like a direct line where he was saying like, now this is how you do the boneless ancient Chinese secret. Like, and it's
Exactly.
yeah, it's some shit like that.
Yeah, he's really going for it in there. And so yeah, that stuff aside, like I don't know, I've been thinking a lot about this because like I mean, part of me was a little bit like I had to come in here and defend myself because the tape is here. We're watching the tape and I'm sitting in the back of the locker room like, yeah, that was not my best game. That was not my best game.
Can we say how
Um,
close your character does actually look like to you, but with purple skin?
yeah, I do feel like I did a really good job on the character creator is great.
Yeah.
Actually, the character creator was amazing. He's me with clown shoes and purple skin.
No, I like
But
your yellow wheels too. Kind of like looks like you got like a McDonald's board or something.
well, it's all right. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. Um, yeah, and then like this mission, I had to like you have to make the security guard drop his candy bar in the pool, so they shut it down so you can skate in it. So it looks like this Snickers floating around in there is a giant turd, and it's just like, come on, man.
Well, you know what that's from,
Come
right?
on. Was that?
Caddyshack. Have you seen that movie?
Mm. I probably have like in a like caught on cable type of environment, but I haven't sat down and been like, I need to experience Caddyshack. Should I?
I will be the guy that will say you need to experience Caddyshack.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, I will experience
there's
Caddyshack.
one of the funniest guys alive is in that movie. So, but yeah, that's Bill Murray's the guy that's like the pool boy, like
Mhm.
like looking around, and he's like he finds the Babe Ruth and eats it out of the pool, and he's like, "Why? There's nuts in it." like it is a very charming movie for the I think it was the 70s it came out in.
All right.
Yeah, check that
Well,
out.
we're not here today to talk about Caddyshack.
Damn.
We're here to talk about we're here to talk about Tony Hawk, and yeah, that's about where I'm at with it. Yeah, as far as the game goes, I really don't have too much more to say. If you have any specific like questions or like insights or anything, I'm down for that. But you did give me an extra credit assignment, and I'm kind of more interested in talking about that, to be honest. If you don't have anything else.
I'll give a little bit of context before we get into the extra assignment because I'm looking forward to
Okay.
that too. But what I'll say is we were all watching the first stream of user playing Tony Hawk, and we were really contemplating, is the man going to be able to play the game like at all? And I will say, like, while we were in the Discord call, I was like, he can get through the game with the cheats. And because that's how I played it and experienced the game as a child too. Like I like the absurdity and the funny, goofy vibe and like the skate culture of this video game. That's what I want you to really go for and experience. Like, if you can get through the game with the cheats, that's fine. Everybody in that Discord call was saying, no, that's not the issue. That's not the issue. It's this. I was like, bro, like, I don't know what these guys were saying. It's like the cheats made the game playable. Like,
Yeah. For me, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like it's I don't know what they were on, but I was like, if we're gonna get through this series, we need the cheats to be on. And I don't like. I'll be honest, the cheats make the game fun. Like it doesn't feel like you're getting a pass really. It's just a skateboarding game to me. Like it's not like competitive or anything. It's just
Yeah.
So like just why not put the cheats on and just, chill and vibe with the game.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, that's like what you told me to do is like, hey, I just want you to experience because the game is obnoxious and like, I mean, we haven't even gotten into, but like when you go to like Soviet Russia and you're like skateboarding on like Soviet tanks and shit, and like you
Yeah.
got it, and you get like your piece of shit rival buddy that like came up with you in the skateboarding world. He
Oh
like
yeah.
frames you for like a terrorist attack on the Kremlin, pretty much, and you become like a terrorist, and you have to like get this like anarchist underground like insurgency to get you back to the United States, and you got to skateboard favors for them, like you got to do tricks to
Yeah.
break satellites. It's
Hell yeah.
insane. It's actually obnoxious as hell, and just like, and that part, like that stuff, again, some of the specific like takes of it, and some of like it is mean spirited in a lot of ways, in a lot of the weird places that it goes, and that it loses me on those fronts. But like the heart and soul of like, hey, let's skateboard on like Tiananmen Square or something, like that's a great idea.
Yeah,
To put
yeah.
in the video. Like think of some historical like crazy shit. And I was watching Jabin play Underground 2, and he was like skating with Ben Franklin and shit. That was cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
The second game has a lot more like unlockable characters
Mm.
that you can skate as, along with like the whole Jackass crew. The second game is about you versus Eric on split between the Jackass crew members, and you're like trying to do the craziest. I think you're trying to make a movie or something. You can make like a skate Jackass movie or something like that. But yeah, unfortunately, Eric is still in the game in the second one.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, because that guy sucks.
Yeah, he does suck ass. But I will say, good ass villain. Like they really made a fucking piece of shit you hate, like in this game.
Yeah.
They did a
I
good
guess
job making
like
a hateable guy.
yeah, I guess like where I agree with that absolutely, but I guess where I would push back is like I think they almost like went too far with making him like such a whiny, like unredeemable. Like he has no good scene where he
He
like
doesn't.
he did something that made me believe that like my character would be friends with him still after all the shit that we've been through. Like there's nothing that he ever did, because that's an important part of it. Because if you just make him an asshole like from start to finish, then at a certain point I'm like, bro, I'm pissed off because my guy won't just like let this go. And like, why does he keep trusting this guy who I've never seen do anything to earn a second of that? Like, so I think you need a save the cat kind of moment with him. It so far as just making him the story around him and your relationship with him is good. I just wish that there was a little bit more of just like making him a real guy and not a caricature, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
But everything in this game is a caricature at the end of the day.
He is just a walking definition of a freak at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that is his whole shtick. Shoot, man. Yeah, I guess we'll go into the brutality of the rating. What do you give it?
This is tough. This is tough. I mean, I have the floor and I have the rating and I'm gonna use it and I'm gonna be true to myself. Part of
Yep.
me was thinking about coming in here and being like, well, let's give it an objective because like it isn't really my speed, but I don't think that but I do think there's a lot of bad game design in this game too. Like when I'm saying this, it's not just like shit that doesn't rock with me. It's like I think most like even you guys who love the game, there's so many moments where you were like, this challenge sucks. Like good luck with that. And I'm like to where I know that they messed some shit up along the way too, even if you were like, this is my bag.
I know a specific rail that is annoying as fuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm gonna give it a 2.5.
Right on.
That's where I'm at with it. And I'm sorry because they're the moments that shine through. I was seeing glimpses of something a lot higher, but the overall package just wasn't hidden for me, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, I mean, some shameless self promo, but I was streaming this, and the first stream I did of this was like maybe the worst stream of my life. Like it was like a humiliation ritual of like trying to learn how to play this game while like I had people watching me, and it was tough.
Oh,
It actually like made me stop streaming for a while playing this game.
I'm looking forward to making that video.
I know you are. I know you're gonna have a field day with that.
It's definitely I'm gonna be spending special time on it. Absolutely. Like it's gonna be like this might be the video that gets us the most views. I'm not gonna lie.
I hope so.
So
If we can get something out of it, that's all I hope for.
right.
Um, let's hop into the extra credit. So I gave you some extra credit for Pokemon. We haven't delivered on that yet. That'll be after this recording. We're going to do a Gen 5 Pokemon battle against each other with the teams that we beat the Pokemon games with. So look forward to that coming out sometime in the near future. But Big Henny gave me some extra credit. He requested that I basically watch some actual. I crushed some tape. I watched some actual skateboarding videos from some of the people involved in the pro skaters that appear in Tony Hawk Underground. And so I did that. I watched at least one like highlight reel video of each of the like skaters that are featured in Tony Hawk, and I picked my favorite out of them. But I gotta say, probably my favorite guy out of all of these. I mean, okay, realistically, it's Tony Hawk. I mean, he's the GOAT. But like to not give like the answer of the guy whose name is on the cover of the game that we played for this, to go one to scratch one kind of line deeper. Out of what I watched from the people in Tony Hawk, it was going to be Andrew Reynolds. Um, I liked the vibe of his like video in the game the most. Like him like grinding rails like in a black like button up, like he's in a suit with Converse. Like it looked like he was like basically like he had just been shooting a music video with Panic at the Disco, and then he rolled up to the to shoot the skate demo like right after. Like it's that's a 2000s thing that I want to bring back is that. But
Okay.
and then I watched his This Is Skateboarding video for that series, and it was him skating to like a Jimi Hendrix song, and that went really hard. That video was super sick. Um,
Nice.
so out of the guys that are actually like playable skaters in Underground, this is my pick. But I did a little bit of a deep dive on Stacy Peralta, because I think Stacy was my favorite character in Underground. Like in Underground, he owns like the skate shop that like you start the game at, and he's like, you know, kind of a mentor figure to you throughout the game and stuff. And he's like, I don't know, he's just got a kind of immaculate vibe. Like every time you see him, he's like meditating and like doing headstands and shit.
Yeah.
And like you borrow his van to go to like the skate competition in Florida, and like you get pulled over because he has like a tail light out or something, and he's got like anti-cop bumper stickers on, and like I think they say something about like the van smelling like weed and everything. So it's just he just seems like a cool, chill guy in this story. And when everybody's like playing up to 11, being as obnoxious as possible, like him being very like mellow, like really like he just had a different vibe than everybody else in the game. And so I thought he was cool, and I assumed because he was named and stuff in the game that he like, you know, was important in skateboarding. So I did a little deep dive on him and found out that like, I mean, he's one of the fucking OGs, man. Like he
Yeah.
was like he like made a tape that was like very early like Tony Hawk appearance featuring like Rodney Mullen and some other skaters as well. And this videotape is fucking electric. This worked so like I watched a lot of like 2000s skating like videos and stuff, and I'm not gonna lie, almost not a one did anything for me. But this like really resonated with me, and I don't know what the difference is. The only thing I can speculate, and I don't know if you're gonna like to hear this, Big Henny, but I think I only like skateboarding before Jackass.
Hmm.
I think Jackass ruined skateboarding for me. I think that change in
Yeah.
the culture around skating, it just killed it for me. But watching just watching this dude skateboard through the town, and there's like a punk energy, but it's not like a fuck you and everyone around you kind of energy. Like I could imagine all of these guys, like, yeah, they're doing, you know, they're like skating, and like they're gonna probably break some shit, and they're probably gonna like cause a little bit of a ruckus, but like they're not gonna go home and beat a woman up. And I can't say that about any man I saw in Tony Hawk in that video game. Every single one of them looked like he went home and beat his wife. I'm sorry. They all looked like menaces.
It's that is a joke, by the way.
I mean,
You know,
I'm not saying
some
they did it.
motherfucker's gonna take it seriously.
I'm not saying that they did it. I'm saying they all look like they have that attitude about them.
Yeah. Well, and what I would say is like, I mean, the Jackass era of like everything for skateboarding is definitely like how I was introduced to the scene and grew up to it. I'm a big, huge Jackass fan. It's just a different era of skateboarding. Like, if you go pre, you know, you're talking about 80s and 90s skateboarding. It is just raw talent and skill with limited resources. Like these kids are like, you know, look at these guys. They're geared up here. These are
Yeah.
these are planks of wood with fucking
Yeah.
like wheels on it. Like And I don't even know if the bearings are like as good as like they were in like the 90s or the 2000s. Like, and they're just finding like, rust filled bowls and just,
Yep.
skating on them. Yeah, these look like cruising boards. Like, and they're all like actually hitting bowls and like half pikes with them. Like it's kind of
Mhm.
crazy. And then they're
Yeah.
just doing this type of shit. Just
Mhm.
like verting down the fucking road. Yeah,
Yeah.
these feel like video game moves, but like these cats are actually like fucking ripping it up.
Yep.
So there is
And
just
and
something
I
about
think
the curators just having the talent and they created all of this. It's a
yeah.
different vibe.
Yeah, and all strays at Jackass aside, I think maybe what's actually going on is what I'm seeing here is like these are dudes. I was reading up on this when they put this tape out. They expected it to sell 300 copies, and instead it sold like 30,000 or
Yeah,
something. You know, they were expect. It was such a more of a niche, like lesser known type of thing. Like the culture wasn't there around it in the same way, and so the money wasn't there around it in the same
is
way.
that
And
Peralta
so
himself in the
these,
yellow shirt?
it is, yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. So when you're watching this, I feel like you're watching people who are like doing this because they love it. They're doing this because it's like it's a passion and it's fun and they really give a shit about it. And I feel like a lot of times when I'm watching like the later stuff that would come after like the 2000s, like once the money is there, like post the Tony Hawk video games and the culture and the money developing around it like that,
Skating for
I feel like these
sponsorships.
are I feel like these dudes are skating for sponsorships and their like attitudes are that of like they're like celebrities instead of athletes. And like that's these guys
Well, they
feel
were.
like passionate athletes
Motherfuckers
and
were on
not like
MTV. So
I
yeah.
know yeah, absolutely they were, but that's what I'm saying, the attitude just feels like I don't know. That's why I find this like so much more like heartwarming and electric. And also I gotta say like the other thing about it that really drew me in is this is like really well produced. Like that you can tell this is like directed and like this is like made to be a movie. Like it's
Yeah,
really it's really like shot well and like it edited well and it's so good.
it
Whereas
is.
like,
Yeah.
it's a much more like raw, rough DIY kind of a thing on the other tapes and stuff I watched. And like I get why that is appealing, but like to me as
When you
I
can't hear
I
it, there's no
prefer this type of
soundtrack either. Like there's a
thing.
soundtrack behind this too. Like
Yeah.
it does feel like a fucking movie. Like or
Yeah.
some kind of just like documentary esque too, just by like it's like a documentary with no talking. It's just an action based documentary of like
Yeah, except for like a couple
look
of
at all these
weird parts.
skaters.
Yeah, except for a couple weird parts, like when he's skating by the bums and the dude starts telling his like he's like, "Did I tell you I was born out there by Venice Beach, yeah, on the corner of?" It's like it's just there's like some weird stuff, but there's like choices in it, man. Like I said, it just feels like a this is a vibe. If you guys haven't watched the Bones Brigade video show, I think is what it's called from 1984, that's a fucking trip, man. That's a dope 30 minutes you can spend with that. But yeah, so hopefully that gives me my extra credit points on the test because I do feel like I put the work in.
Yeah,
In fact, I put
absolutely.
you on. You hadn't seen this yet either. So
No, I think I've seen like just clips of this, like just out
mhm.
of context, but never knew like where it originated from or what this film was actually called, and that Stacy Peralta's not a fictional character in Tony Hawk. He's a real man who
Yes, he
actually
is.
loved skateboarding. So that is all
Yep.
very cool. Yeah, because
Yep.
even in the game, he's like, you talk to Tony Hawk at the Tampa AM or whatever, and
Mhm.
he's like, Stacy Peralta, he's still kicking it. man, is that guy still like doing his meditations or whatever? Like, and also like in real life, Tony Hawk and Stacy Peralta were like homies. So
Yep.
yeah, it's very interesting.
Actually, I do take it back though. And the number one skateboarding thing I watched for the process of preparing for this was that video reviewing the sandwiches at Chicken Hawk.
Oh,
That was the number one thing I watched. Those
okay.
sandwiches look pretty damn good.
Oh man,
That Tony Hawk, he made a restaurant, and I'm trying to go.
man, he said that he went to all over California and maybe even a couple of other different states to find the best chicken sandwich. And he said he found one in California and just said, let's tweak it to my style so it's just a sandwich designed for me. It's like the best tasting chicken sandwich. We're just going to twist it and make it for me. So it's like even better. And
Baller.
there's something about that video too that is like, I don't know, just what it's like a come together moment of like just all like the new skaters and the old skaters just eating chicken sandwiches together. You see Bam's kind of like a healed person now and he's back into skating, learning how to do new tricks. Tony's just kind of chilling, running the sandwich shop. And then you got the two new cats who are kind of like doing their own new thing with their YouTube channel. There's like this, I don't know what the new skate scene looks like really too much, but I feel like it's kind of a reflection of probably the Jackass era, but you know, more maybe more like hip hop based, I'd say, because there's a guy named Nija Houston, killer skateboarder, but you know, he's I think he's a polarizing skater too. I don't know why though, but you'll have to check out Nija Houston. He was winning champions, like he was winning tournaments as like a 6-year-old.
Damn.
Yeah. So he's an interesting guy. Bro, honestly, I want to do a little bit more banter, but we're at the 2-hour mark and I've got shit in my ass.
Thank you for that image, Big Henny. Yeah, we can wrap it up here. So for the next episode, we're going to be talking Binding of Isaac and Near Automata. So make sure you check that out. And once again, I know I said it at the front, but you know, we got to do our due diligence as hosts of this program, and we got to promote it. So that means we got to say to you, please like, subscribe, follow, rate, whatever the site you're listening or seeing us on lets you do to support us. Please consider doing so. It's absolutely free. It just takes a moment of your time, and it really makes a difference for how those platforms put our stuff out to other listeners and other viewers, and that helps us grow. The more this thing grows, you know, the more cool guests and the more production value and the more cool stuff we get to do. So, you know, it's a win-win on our book, and it takes just, like I said, literally a second of your time. So thank you again for watching or listening and doing all that. We'll be back to talk just some shop talk for the next episode, catching up on some more news and asking some questions and you know, talking about trends and gaming and whatever's going on.
Some personal
and then those
stories.
other games. Personal stories, yeah, you know. So we'll be doing that. That's kind of what's on the docket for the next couple episodes. Big Henny is about to poop his pants, so we got to get out of here, like stat. But thank y'all, and we'll catch you next time. Peace, love, and good games, y'all.